Welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO. Tonight, the first Democrat debate. Elizabeth Warren and the other people who will be on stage with her, all the folks polling at about 0 to 1% in the polls. You've got well, I call it the main debate. They're not calling it the main debate, but the other debate is tomorrow night, Thursday. That's where Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders and Kamala Harris and some of the other candidates will be. So 2 nights of debates for the Democrats, 10 candidates on stage each. Joining us to talk about that and also talk about President Trump's re-election campaign. On these member of the 2020 advisory board for Trump 2020, Bruce LeVell. You've seen him on Fox News and other places as well. Bruce, welcome to the Chad Hasty Show. How are you today?
Thanks, Chad. Thanks for having me. All right.
Absolutely. Glad to have you on the program. As I mentioned, leading up to bringing you on the show, tonight's the first Democrat debate. Bruce, what do you think people can expect tonight and tomorrow night from the far left that's going to be on stage?
Well, it's going to be a lot of posturing. I mean, there's a lot of folks on there. I'm just worried that they have enough room on the stage and no one falls off the stage and injures themselves, to be honest with you. But, really, seriously, they're really going to go aggressively to try to make a name. It's a national stage. Everything that they say is going to count. Every second's going to count. There's going to be some bullying going on in order to get that posture. So I just say stay tuned. The ones who were complacent before, which was Biden and a few others that were leading higher in the polls, they're going to have to really step it up. Because a lot of the polls are changing tremendously in terms. You saw Elizabeth Warren gaining, and you saw Bernie coming up, and you saw how he took Connecticut.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of. I'd say it's going to be a dull knife fight. I don't want to say a sharp knife fight, but it'll be a dull knife fight.
Bruce, do you think for tomorrow night, one thing that I've noticed about Joe Biden in his campaign stops, at least the ones that I've seen on TV, it seems like he's going through the motions. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's showing up. Hey, yeah, I'm Joe Biden. He doesn't seem to have that fire. He doesn't seem to be excited. Does he have to show a little bit of that fire, you think, in these debates?
Yeah, I think I know that the advisors, if I were in that camp right now, I could almost assure you that he's getting advice from every side of the room.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, respectfully, I think he's a little confused. And I'm not saying that, obviously I'm very biased for the POTUS, of course, but I think respectfully, I think he's really genuinely confused. This is a different type of election. It's not like it was when he was running with Obama and Romney, of course, and McCain. This is something that he's having to figure out how to navigate this new euphoria, if you want to say, with Ocasio's group and the other congressman up in Minnesota. So this is uncharted waters for him, and so he's confused. Rusty, I hate to say it, So I think at the end of the day, he does have the spirit of complacency. He does have the spirit of like, hey, I've been here for 40 years. Y'all owe me, And I think he's going to have to. Well, he's going to get a rude awakening that, that's not going to, as they say in Georgia and Texas, that dog ain't going to hunt no more.
Yeah. Bruce LeVell joining us here on the Chad Hasty Show. Bruce, when the Democrats take the debate stage tonight and tomorrow, most likely they're going to be attacking Trump quite a bit. And we've already seen some of what they're going to lead off with. They're going to talk. They're going to accuse the president of obstructing justice. They're probably going to talk about impeachment. They're now realizing, Bruce, all of a sudden that there's a crisis on the border, and now it's Trump's fault. There's a crisis on the border that they just now realized, and it's all the president's fault. If you're a Republican watching this, if you're a Trump supporter watching this, what all do you have to keep in mind when you're hearing these attacks coming from the left?
Well, you got to remember, too, that the unfortunate part of this, especially for the state of our democracy, none of them really have a plan. it's interesting that, Chad, if you take a specific line item when you're running for office, whether it be, county commissioner, Senate, state Senate, congressional, whatever, and you have a specific line item of agendas that you're trying to sell to your constituents or to the American people, and they don't have anything, and really realistically, moderates as well as even some soft Democrats are like, well, gosh, look at the economy, look at the interest rates, look at it as the small business is making a nice comeback because of the deregulations in terms of what the president's trying to do, the tax cuts, and let's go even deeper in the minority community as it relates to the prison reform, Step 1, Step 2 Act that they're working on. These are major accomplishments that are win-win for everyone. So, Rusty, at the end of the day, what do you have to bring to the table to offer? I mean, you can throw whatever you want at the president, collusion, that was proven that there was no obstruction, there was no collusion. And at the end of the day, these folks, especially the middle class and these working class people, are going to, at the end of the day, look at their checkbooks and say, well, gosh, what do you have to sell me? What do you have? And you saw that the only way that they're getting, should I say, some level of media attention, Bernie's wanting to give away the kitchen sink, they're throwing the word reparations around, as I call it, throwing the carrot in front of the minority community, knowing good and well that it's almost impossible to even come up with any kind of formula, and it's just an unrealistic approach. Meanwhile, the president's like, look, I know we've had some situations in the past, but we can get better. We can get better on our access to capital, that tremendous travesty of Dodd-Frank that killed, I call it the business killer here, that affected, especially Georgia, Vegas, and across the country. Mm-hmm. Number 2, this prison reform where Joe Biden sponsored the crime bill. He sponsored it. The largest mass incarceration of African Americans in the history of the nation was under his watch. And then, on top of that, he was the vice president under Obama when he had the Congress, the Senate, and the House, and could absolutely do nothing as it relates to any of these agendas that the president was able to accomplish. So it's going to be a tough road and a tough hill to climb with a 3+% unemployment rate and low interest rates and the American people getting jobs as well as manufacturing coming back. And this president's holding his feet to the fire on China and the foreign trade that has been respectfully ripping us off for decades. It's going to be a tough mountain to climb. So, I think at the end of the day, Rusty, they're going to just throw something against the wall. Let me see if that will stick. No, let's try this. Yeah. Well, let me throw this. And the only way they can think of is to try to figure out to make up something on the president to undermine his accomplishments, trying to make him out to be someone he's not. And this is the same thing we went through in 2016. And it's kind of sad because it's like, is this all you got? Yeah. This is it? This is the party? So I think it's going to help us even more, the fact that they want to just throw the same old conspiracy theories, the whodunit, and it's actually going to help the president even more so.
Visiting with Bruce LeVell here on the Chad Hasty Show. Bruce, let me ask you, all these polls that have come out, and they show that the president's going to lose all these swing states, that he's down. Of course, all the polls showed that he was going to lose in 2016 up until Election Day. How does that affect the campaign? How does that impact the work that the RNC and that you guys are doing, or do you just ignore the noise and just keep doing what you're doing?
Well, I have to say I feel we're going to be better this time around because we were, in a pool of 17 plus candidates in the primary. We had to endure all the fake polling and the fake news that went out there, per se, on candidate Trump at the time, as well as President Trump at the time. So, we are more engaged. We are smarter. We have more supporters that we didn't have, that believe in this president. It's kind of like a lot of folks that were kind of like, well, I don't really like him, but now I can tell you, I know a lot of folks, especially in higher elected office and high leadership positions, that finally say, well, I don't really like his personality or whatever, but I like his accomplishments. And that's really all we want. We're not here for a popularity contest. We're here to sell the American people that this president has really good business decisions and business ideas that can help stimulate this economy and stimulate the American working class people, especially in states like Pennsylvania, Ohio, and other Michigan and other manufacturing facilities have been shut down, that's been resurrected, and this is something that he's breathing this. He's speaking this, like, hey, keep America great. There's one thing that I remember during the campaign. He used to always get on us about make America great again. It's just like your Texas Tech Red Raiders down there. You want to cheer your team. Everyone that shows up cheers the team to win. The president is cheering the nation to win. That's what this is. A lot of times when you want to start something, just like when you want to be a radio talk show, or you want to own your own network or your own station, someone had to speak that to you. So the president, he speaks that, says, we can do this. We can win. We can build this. Remember, we just came out of an administration that said you didn't build that.
Yeah.
So now we're trying to surpass and to push back on, as I call it, a generational curse of, we didn't do this. You can't do this. Well, you can't do that. You can't. Well, we can't do this. Now you have a commander-in-chief that says, yes, we can build this. We as America, we can build this back. We have the ingenuity to build these manufacturing plants. We have the ingenuity for science and technology. We have the ingenuity to start our own business, to take care of our own community, our faith-based communities where our children work and play. We as Americans. That's what this chant is about. We as America, America first. We always have these other neighboring countries that always run to us because they know we have a great, great country. But there's an old saying, how are you going to take care of your neighbor's yard when you ain't cut your own yard? So America has to get back to where we were to be strong so we can help everyone else. It's not that we don't want to help anyone. But we can't help anyone if we don't take care of our own backyard, if we don't take care of ourselves first.
Yeah, absolutely.
My pastor always said in my church, he says, you can't shepherd your flock if your house is not in order. So the president is like, you know what? We're going to get our house in order, make us strong so we can help everyone else be strong.
Very good.
And that's who he is.
Bruce LeVell, 2020 advisory board member for Trump 2020, also executive director of NDC Trump. You can visit that website, ndctrump.com. Bruce, thank you very much. It was good to visit with you, and hopefully we'll visit with you as the campaign continues.
Thanks for having me. God bless you.
Absolutely. Thank you. That's Bruce LeVell here on the Chad Hasty Show, News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO.